Welcome to the RPG Podcast.
And we are live.
Oh, God, Patton!
Presented by SHEATH. A Time Wheel production.
There he is. Look at that beautiful face. And all of you out there, thank you for coming to another episode of the Robert Patton Global Podcast. We're on season 7. We just moved to a new channel, Robert Patton Global channel. And Robbie's the third guest. He's been here, I think this is his third time. We're very excited to have him back. Thank you for coming on short notice. How you doing, sir?
Dude, this is a pro operation. That was a sexy ass intro.
I got StreamYard from you last time I was on your podcast.
Nice.
I was like, oh, this is legit with all the waiting room and green room stuff. So,
but you took it a level past what I got. You got the intro built in. You got this graphic package that you kind of size your videos onto. This is sexy, dude.
We're trying. And it may or may not be paying off. We got the new channel. The second video we did, like, from our point of view, went viral. Like, because normally we get like a modest amount of viewership, but it was like 1,000 times that amount, and it was like, what did we do different? Let's keep
just
doing
the
that.
aesthetics.
I think it was the guest we had, or he was a finance guy, and it was just like
good tips.
No, we were just chatting like I do. Typical.
Can I ask you a question to start it off?
Please.
Because this has been on my mind. Instagram drives me nuts because you can't fast forward, right? Sometimes I like to get to it. And like sometimes something will catch my attention. Like, this is bad. I'm a phone person. I'm looking at my phone, gotta leave. Something catches my attention. I'm like, I need the ending to the story.
Yeah.
I saw you outside like a madman. You had a piece of workout equipment. It was like almost a sledgehammer. And you're banging into an ice box that it's clearly cold outside, and you're looking to take an ice bath in the freezing cold. And it's not even like you're dumping ice into this thing. This thing is frozen overnight, and I guess you're adding water to it that will hopefully unfreeze it so you could get in. So first, did you actually pull off that ice bath? You got in, you were able to, like, tell me this whole story, because it just seemed, it seemed like madness.
I have this huge bucket of water out in my front, driveway area, and it froze overnight, like you said, but just the top layer. So it was like a 6-inch thick sheet of ice that I was busting open with it was a steel mace that I got from Onnit. I'm wearing an Onnit hoodie, and I swing the mace for working out and stuff. But I had to get in. And it was so full of ice, though, that I couldn't get all the way in. So then we had to like pull some of the big blocks of ice out. So I had to get back in. So I had to get in once and then get out, make more room. And then I got in. I only did about 10 seconds because it was freezing cold. And I'm trying to acclimate myself because I'm a big fan of Wim Hof. He's on my vision board, and the healing effects of cold therapy. I'm sure we've all heard of that, right?
No, you got to lay it on me. Someone once told me if you take cold showers, you'll get better boners. And so yes. I did a little stretch but I cheated. I couldn't just so I used to do sauna into cold shower, and then like your body's already kind of heated up. Yeah. So you can get in real cold and just kind of like ride that cold wave.
Right, because you're already warm. That's a good way to do it.
But you tell me, I don't know what's the benefits of the coldness here.
Well, I mean, in Finland, they have that contrast therapy where you go from hot to cold, hot to cold.
Is that why they're so hot in Finland?
They're tall, blonde babes.
Well, I can come out un-Jewish with blonde hair if I just go hot to cold on a daily basis.
You just got to practice what they...
And put it on the vision board.
Yeah, it's all...
I have a big uncircumcised cock on my vision board because that's all I really want for 2022. Not inside me. I don't want to attract a man that has it. I want to be able to grow in myself.
An uncircumcised one?
Yeah, I want my dick to be bigger and uncircumcised. Are vision boards that effective? Can I get there?
It's not like you can become a 7-foot tall black basketball player. No, it doesn't. Not.
But I can become as wealthy as one.
Yeah, and you could work for one and maybe just put yourself in proximity with people who are doing what you want to do, and then maybe you can be on the team.
Yeah, maybe one time this year I'll jerk off a dude with a big fat uncircumcised cock and it just in that moment pretend like it was mine.
Yeah, visual. That's where the visualization comes in handy.
Like if the guy's shorter than me, that I can rest my like chin over his shoulder and almost look down on it.
Right.
And then
like
really just
around.
and really just pretend like that's mine.
That's what my wife does. So I don't know. But
I derailed you. Can you tell me the benefits of the coldness?
You get in a cold ice bath and deal with that stress. Like nothing else is going to stress you out, for one. You know what I mean? Like in the build up to it is that you're like,
the angst, right?
Yeah. And so facing your fears. I heard this in a song, do something that scares you every day. Well, doing an ice bath, it never gets easier, really. Maybe a little bit. It just the anticipation, though, is just like, oh, fuck, I got to do this, and it's going to shock me. But you feel so much better afterwards, for whatever reason. All these endorphins and dopamine and serotonin spikes, and it makes the rest of your day pretty pleasant, ultimately.
I've experienced that. I've recently been thinking about that a little bit with working out, because like I was with some of the workouts I was doing, and I don't have like a perfect workout system by a long shot. I keep it pretty simple. My rule is I just try and do something every single day. Like that's I want to do something every single day without getting injured. And for me, it's more about combating. I just find sometimes I don't even click into my brain until I've worked out for the day. Whatever the fuck, it's stress, anxiety, whatever the fuck it is, working out works really well for me. And so I want to, and then I also have kept pretty good mental tabs on that. The more rigorous the activity is, like sometimes, but there's exceptions to this. I know I'm getting a little crazy here. Like your short burst shit, like your interval training, I find is really good for anxiety. On the flip side, though, I used to do more endurance type stuff. And by endurance type stuff, I mean like your 10-mile runs, your 30-mile bike rides. I find that with those, the calming effect also leads to like almost a little bit of a fatigue thing. So unless it's like on a Sunday where I can really be mellow all day, it almost mellows me out too much. So there's like a sweet spot on interval training that will really click you into kind of like a competitive thing, or just like where you can kind of find your focus, that I love. Anyways, speaking to what you were saying with the discomfort, I learned only recently, like I think I was swimming in the pool and I kind of hit that point where like, because I used to get it, like I do other workouts. I don't really like swimming. Swimming would be, all right, I'm doing 20 minutes. That's it. Like I just commit 20 minutes front crawl, get the fuck out of there, because I don't like it. I do it because it's good. It's injury free, but it's not like fun. But I realized if you push like when you get to that point where you don't want to do it and it just becomes not fun, like the more you push through that, like that not wanting to do it, the more endorphin. It's like a direct relationship of kind of like feeling good when you leave.
Like the more you feel afterwards.
Yeah, the more whatever that sluggishness is while you're working out. And I don't mean this for lifting. I mean it like for swimming or biking or running, because like I think with like pushing weights you could get injured with this philosophy. But like when you hit that feeling on your run and it's sluggish and you don't want to do it, the more of that you push through, the more like of that good endorphin you're going to get when you're done.
I agree with that. The only thing I would say is if you've been working out for like 2 weeks straight and your like body is saying, don't work out today, take a day off, and you push through that, you might like be not listening to your body, and then your body might have been telling you to, hey, I told you not to work out today, and you did it anyways.
My philosophy on something every day is like, let's say you're sore as shit and you stretch that day, or like you couldn't get anything in and you go for a walk.
Yes.
And then my other rule is every once in a while, on most weeks, I end up missing a day.
Yeah.
The biggest rule is never take 2 days off.
I like it.
But like, even so, because I've had these days where it's like one day I can't get to the gym and then the next day I'm like, I can't take 2 days off in a row. I even did this. I was waiting a half hour on parallel parking. I think I did 400 body weight squats, like just squatting in the street. People look at you like you're a fucking That was the workout for the day.
You're utilizing your time. You're stuck there, so you might as well.
Yeah, and that was my one. That to me, it's more the habit of doing it. Like it takes so. I remember being physically lazy. Like I still deal with like I just remember the feeling of physical laziness, and I don't want to ever go back to that. Like I remember that we're like, something's over there, and it was I don't want to get. It's like. You know what I mean? Like I remember that feeling in life of physical laziness or going to the store. I don't want to get up. So I don't want to ever deal with that in my life again. And so just the habit of every day working out, more to keep the habit than to look unbelievably good. Like that's more my goal is the mental clarity and keeping the habit. And that's, I've been able to do that for a little while now. I got a question for you on working out though.
Okay. But also that like doing these workouts, it builds up the momentum for the day. Like you said, it kind of keeps you going. And if you are stuck in a rut and you don't know what to do, sometimes I find just going for a nice little jog will jog your memory, jog your mind and get you like that momentum because an object in motion stays in motion. And so if you're out there, anyone like, and you're just like, I don't want to do it. Like you just have to do it, and once you start, it's a lot easier to keep going.
Yeah, I have this issue. Like sometimes when I'm like at my desk and like I'm writing, and then it starts getting to that point where it's like I've read too much news, I can't really focus anymore. So I try and break it up. Like I'll just walk to the pull-up bar, do a set of pull-ups, but then sometimes I get distracted because then like I get in the workout zone, and then like I just keep it going. I just yesterday bought a weighted vest. Have you ever worked out with a weighted vest?
Yes.
Oh, I've had so much fun with this thing already. I'm already getting nervous I'm going to get injured with it, but like I'm on day 2 with this thing and I've just been having so much fun with it.
Yeah, be careful. It depends on how snug it is or whatever. And my weighted vest was a flak jacket in the Army, and it was like a bulletproof vest with these 35-pound plates. Then when you're running, it would bounce. And I don't think that was good for my spine, like in retrospect. So just that's the only thing I would say about that. But working out, push-ups, body weight, squats, and stuff like that would probably be amazing.
Yeah, I think all the body weight stuff that I was doing, I'm going to switch over to the weighted vest and do a little bit less volume because the volume is getting a little nutty.
Whatever, you got to listen to your body. But as you get older, and like what I've found is if I don't cool down, and not by getting in an ice bath, but just like slow down and do like a cool down or stretching, I get so tense that it like hurts at night, and I can't sleep. So I have to do like these cool down because I'll work out really hard. I kind of fancy myself like Joe Rogan, like a guy's guy, and I was in the Army and fucking I work hard. But then when I'm pushing myself like to this limit, if I don't do the extra like old man cool down shit, I am in pain later, which also is alleviated by the ice bath, which is kind of what you want to do is you do the workout, get in the sauna, get an ice bath, boom, get out of there.
When I'm living that good SHEATH lifestyle and I got a house up in the woods that I could do all this stuff at home, I'll start ice bathing it. Well, at the moment they don't, well, I do a lot of my. I go to this place called LA Fitness. It's great just because they've been pretty cool about the masks, and they got a pool. So when they go through the stretches of masks, I just then I'll just do like I'll even do resistance workouts in the pool. So I'll do like jumps. Like I can do everything in the pool.
Nice.
It's not as exciting as throwing weights around, but it gets me to my fault. It keeps me in the groove of doing something every day.
There's a guy on Instagram named Leo Savage. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's on I think he's still on our front page of our website, but he swings this mace around, the same thing I was breaking the ice up with, except there's different weights of the mace. You can have a 7, 10, 15, 20, 25 pound. Those are the different weights. Just get a 10-pound weight, but watch him do it. And it's a fun way to work out, like resistance, kind of like it's a weighted ball at the end of a stick, and it has this torque or some kind of word that when you're swinging it around, it's heavier because it's at the end of the stick. And but you can swing it in you can do like curls with it. You can do lunges and squats and these 360s. But you're also sort of training to murder someone in the event of a necessity, because it's like a battle axe or something, like an old school battle axe.
I think when you're working out, you can tap into something, which is good. Like I used to trail run, and sometimes like when you're long enough on a trail run, there is some weird survival thing where you can see yourself in a movie try and like hunt prey or escape something, and that's totally fictional. But in that moment, you kind of just tap into that, and it feels good. So like, even though I hope that you don't have to ever go John Wick, defend your property, have a battle axe, and kill all sorts of people, I think when you're working out, it's fun to just feel like a dude that way. Feel like I'm ready to murder people. Yeah,
it's definitely, I feel like I'm a warrior, caveman, Viking or something, Yeah,
it feels good.
And I used to do that when I was a kid, is I would imagine some big, scary dude was behind me, chasing me with a knife, and I have to like run faster, because I've always been pretty active. I've had a pretty active lifestyle. I don't know, but it probably all stems to the mental clarity that it gives you. Feel good, it made me feel good, so I kept doing it, and I still do it. And I'm 43 now, so I plan on keeping on until I'm 143.
Is that the goal? 143?
I mean, no, let's go 170. No, 180, 188.
You want to go 188? All right. Then I like the positive mental attitude.
It's people look so much like people stay young these days, it seems like, to me. And maybe but like, I'm 43, but I don't feel like, I know a dude that's 43 and he looks like 43. I look like 33 or something, to me.
Dude, in my head, I think I'm so young.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I hook up with women my age. I think I'm with an old lady.
Yes. Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's good in a way. I don't know. Maybe it's like some Peter Pan, like not good part of my brain, that I'm immature and that I live a younger man's lifestyle. But in my head, I'm not 33.
You 27?
Yeah, 27 sounds good. 27 sounds good.
Me too. But I feel old. Now I feel old, and I guess I definitely look older, obviously, than I did when I was 10 years ago. It's pretty significant. But just like old, like just old. I don't know. I don't feel old, at all. I feel like I'm not even. I still feel like I'm in an adolescence or something. I don't feel like I'm over halfway through with my life already. Are you kidding me? It's all downhill. I don't like the idea of that much, because I feel like there's so much more to do and see and build, and share. And I like the giving, and just this shit. Like, I want to be able to. We never even really get to hang out because there's not enough time.
Dude, I want to train with you. I mean, it's easy to talk. So and I'm really good at making plans and then never doing anything.
Same.
But at some point I'd love to, at some point when I've totally wound down the ad sales business and I've got such a following that it's pure SHEATH bucks all the way to the bank, we'll get together, train, and get some content out. Because I like the way you do it. You go hard.
Yeah. Well, I like that idea, and I want to. You're growing, you're like, your comedy is. I went and saw you in Denver, which was amazing.
I appreciated that you came out for that. That was awesome.
Yeah, and the crowd was amazing. You had a full, sold out crowd, and everyone. They had free pizza, free beer, free comedy. Not free comedy, well, because you had to pay to get in, but really sweet little arrangement there, like the setup and it was all libertarians. I love that. You're the king of the cocks.
I love it can't always be done, and I'm grateful of comedy wherever I can do it, however I can do it.
This episode is brought to you in part by Element Kombucha. It's a new sponsor. We're very excited. They sent me a care package, and I drank them all. I can't even show you. I could show you this empty bottle right here, but it's Element Kombucha. They have CBD infusions, THC free, really tasty blends. Kombucha is good for the gut bio. So if you have been taking antibiotics, it's always good to take some probiotics. And Element Kombucha is sponsoring this show. They're supporting us. So we're asking you to support them. They actually have really good prices. It's like 10, 15 bucks for a 6 or 8 pack on their different options. They have variety packs, or you can just get the Summer Vibes blend, whatever you want. It's at elementkombucha.com. Promo code RPG11 will save you 11% on your purchase, and they'll know that we sent you, and we would appreciate the support. Last but not least, SHEATHunderwear.com, the greatest underwear on the planet, the underwear of legends, the underwear that keeps your balls from sticking to your legs. That's right. This is the best underwear because it keeps your boys cool. Check out sheathunderwear.com. Back to the show.
There is something really special when you're not at the comedy clubs and like it's all your crowd and it's more of a hang than it is like showing up to a venue to see a show. So an event like that where I think tickets were $15 and then you didn't have to spend more money on pizza or beers, and all libertarians. Before we did the show, people got up. You even got up. You did a little pitch. Everyone kind of introduced themselves, just let everyone know what they had going on. When the show was over, people hung out for a half hour, 45 minutes. Summer Porch Tour is even a more ramped up version than that because we're at someone's house. So it's like, we hang out all night. Sometimes we're crashing at the house. So it's like a real party night for us. So I've had a lot of fun at comedy clubs. Comedy clubs are great. Like, there's a vibe to them because the sound in the room is perfect. They're set up for comedy. I don't have to get up and set things up. Like sometimes when I'm doing these shows, I got to get there before the crowd comes because I got to set up the light. I got to make sure that the mics are working properly. And then I've joked about this, but I feel like my mom before a party where people show up too early and I'm like mad at them because I'm like, no, it's not, the table's not set. Because like you don't want, like, you're the comic, you don't want to be seen that way. So there's like something
magic act. You don't want them to see
exactly
that part of it.
So there's something to be said for comedy clubs are awesome. Sometimes the food there's great. Like comedy clubs can be very special, but there's something to the non-comedy club shows that I put together that is more like family and just hanging out. And then obviously to be able to just get beers and pizzas and an hour and a half of comedy for $15, that's pretty hard to beat.
Yeah. That's unique to you. I've never heard of really anyone doing this, and I've heard about you for the past couple of years doing these. They called it Summer Porch Tour, but it's not always summer. But so you do comedy at someone's house or whatever, and you sell tickets, but it's probably a very small kind of crowd-ish.
The Summer Porch Tour, I would say, has ventured between 30 to 80 people on gigs.
Nice.
They've been a lot of fun. I kind of this summer I'm eyeballing going cross country. It's just I gotta be honest, I don't like dealing with logistics. Like I do it like because that's you and me. We're salespeople. We're doers. At some point, I just decide, okay, this has to get done, and then I sit down and I do it. But like, I definitely like working on the things I enjoy first. And so planning the logistics is not something I enjoy, so I have not put it together yet. But I'm eyeballing it.
Yeah, you're starting to. The seed has been planted. It's probably gotta grow its little tentacle things. It'll come together, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is that, like, just the logistics is that I've noticed I spend a lot of time driving to basically come back. Like, even this past week, I went all the way to Buffalo. I can do my job remotely. It's almost a waste to drive 6 hours from my house to do 3 days. Like, I'd rather then hit Canada. It's right there. I'd rather hit Syracuse. Like, I'd rather just be kind of going on these trips and like hitting. And then also, if I'm doing Summer Porch Tour, I can't really go to California because like I don't have lights out there. Like, I'm not going to be traveling with lights in my sound system. That's just crazy. But like if I lined up every 5 hours, if you look at the map, is another big city. At most, it's 7 hours. So it more just becomes a question of logistics of will the fan base come out on like a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night if that just is the night that you're there?
Right.
Because comedy does, for the most part, it is like a Thursday to Sunday activity. Like even the Denver one was pretty cool that people showed up on a Sunday. But you know, these are the thoughts flying around in my head, Robert.
Well, yeah, you have to put in the work. You're still in the infancy stage, I guess, or whatever, like toddler stage of comedy, I guess. I don't know if that's fair to say, but
11 years in, this will be the 4th season of Summer Porch Tour. So
yeah, that's not toddler. That's like you're almost a teenager.
yeah, I guess so. It should be more sophisticated by now, but what can you do? You run with you know, I just keep getting up, keep getting better. And then I love the growth, man. That's like the biggest thing is just every single, like the first year Summer Porch Tour, I did it at 2 fans' houses and it was just me on their porch. And then last year we did Nashville. Each location we showed up to had more people coming out for it. So like the biggest thing to me is just each year doing it a little bit bigger than the previous year.
Yeah. The Kaizen. Have you heard of Kaizen? It's a Japanese method of incremental improvements over time to make a perfect product. You don't just try to like make the perfect product. It takes time. It's step by step. And, you know, don't rush it.
I almost think in a way it's because I'm lazy by nature, but like it's enough. If I see that things are growing, that's enough to make me feel good about it.
Yeah. I mean, oh man, life is so crazy. Life is so crazy because what if you suddenly got everything you wanted? Then what?
Well, I would ramp up. It's not because for me, everything I wanted would be, I know this is weird. It'd just be stage time every night. And then if I had that, it would be like, all right, now we got this. So now we can start working on perfect jokes. Okay, now we actually have the perfect jokes. So how are we filming them? How are we showcasing it? Okay, great. Now we've got them really, really good at getting up in front of a room. Now, how do we start doing this? Like, how do we get the specials out quicker? How do we film more of them? How do we make this more of a TV? You know what I mean? It's like,
it's never enough.
Yeah, it's never enough.
Right. And that's just human nature. And oh man, because
you know what it is? With me, it's more skill than it is a number, and so I don't think you can ever not get better at comedy. And then
sharpening that sword and that.
Yeah, and to me, it's like I love finding funny. I know this is gonna sound, maybe this sounds too douchey or weird. Like I love finding funny. Like as much as you might go to a comedy club and like listen to a joke and go, "That was funny." I got 10 times more joy than that when I was sitting at my computer and I discovered it. Like when I when I sat there and I discovered something that I thought was funny, that to me is like the greatest feeling in the world, right? And so it's like
plucking the gold out of the
you pluck and you're like, and it's the excitement of like, oh shit, like I get to go into town with this.
Yeah, I just found this.
I find like the more comedy you do, the better it's almost like you get better tools for finding gold. You know what I mean? It's like you get better at finding the funny. And like, and it feels so good. Like like when I discover a joke, like when I'm sitting there in the morning and I find something like that brings me joy. Like it really, or like when I solve a puzzle on like a joke that I couldn't figure out, like it really, like it's a thrill to me. So it's like the more comedy you do and the more you can kind of hone those skills, it's like the quicker and like I get more joy. I get to find more jokes when I'm at my computer in the morning. So it's like I don't see that having an end.
No. Yeah, and if you find something and you laugh out loud, you can pretty much guarantee that other people are going to laugh.
You'd be surprised.
Well, okay. Question. I know you hang out with Dave Smith, future president, next president.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully. And he's a comedian and a brilliant one, but I don't know who else you hang out with. And when you talk about being successful, and one of the tips to be successful is to hang out with like 5 people who you would kind of like aspire to be like or whatever. So you have Dave, and I don't even know how much you guys hang out, but like I imagine it's a little bit at least. And
I gotta be honest, that's the biggest weakness in my game. Like I'm saying, in my success game, I really I'm a loner by nature, and it's brought me some big advantages. Like it's really brought me some big advantages that I have I've constructed a life where I have a lot of free time, and I kind of do. I'm telling you, I'm lazy. So like, I do need a fair amount of downtime before I kind of click in. But then also, like, when I click in and I'm productive, like, sometimes my focus is like unmatched, and like the amount of days I can spend. Like, when I was putting together that end of year thing, I mean, I can't even tell you the amount of just focused hours, like crazy amount of hours, just like
I bet
putting all that stuff together, getting that thing done. I've never been a good. I know it's surprising because, like, you're like, hey, Rob's charming, sales guy. He's got all the skills for this. I've never been good at like hanging out at the comedy clubs, and I've never done a great job of like befriending other comics. To be honest, I know this. I don't like hanging out. I like working. Like, sometimes I match up with other comics and like we're working on a project. Yeah, and like that's the biggest thrill in the world. But like, if comics are getting together for like a barbecue, that's homework for me. I'm like, shit, I don't want to go. I got to like, so yeah, it's just not like, and it's not. I don't know. It's like kind of time and play. Like, I can't quite explain it. It's the answer.
I know what you're saying.
I can understand, like, from the books I've read about how to be successful, like, I can understand that there's a weakness in my game, which is that I've not acquired mentors. I've not done a good job of like, and there's plenty of people I think are like, I'm sure I could get a ton from having relationships with, and like I would enjoy it, but it's like everything else. You got to kind of know how to acquire things or like be comfortable. So that's just, it has not been a part of my game. I've not done a good job of that.
Well, think about that, and maybe you will just reassess but I understand, like, sometimes you're cool to go to a party and hang out, but most of the time, probably not. The time and place, like you kind of were saying, it's like, I could do it at the right time. Maybe like summer Porch tour. I'm working and we get to play. I don't like to just go waste time and talk up nonsense, like not meaningful, productive, like kind of time activities, in my opinion. Every now and then, though, you kind of have to, just to socialize and be nice, and then you can learn. The idea, though, is to surround yourself with these 5 other individuals who are ambitious. I'll be one of them, and I know it's all
I'm in
virtual, but yeah, and likewise, I love your energy. But speaking, you said something that rung a bell, which is the downtime, and it takes you a while to like click into the day or whatever. So like, can you be more specific? Because I have my own experience with that as well. Like, on a day-to-day basis, it's kind of hard to get going sometimes.
Well, and now we're getting personal. I go through stretches where I'm remarkably productive, and I do try and analyze as much as possible what I need to do to kind of be more disciplined. But like, if I take a step back and like I look at kind of the macro of how I spend my time, I do waste a fair amount of time doing absolutely nothing. And when I say absolutely nothing, I mean I mean literally nothing. I mean, you're walking up and down games? No, I don't play video games. I got rid of my Xbox like 5 years ago. Yeah. Because it was too much. Like, the problem here's where that becomes does not fall into the category of nothing. Video games will like suck you in. Yeah. Where it's like you can need a break. You could end up playing video games for 5 hours. Now, like, you need a break from that to go do something else. Like, I almost don't even like watching television that's bingeable for the same reason, because then it's not really like downtime for your brain per se. Like, for example, if you watch like a bunch of bullshit on YouTube, it's totally uninvested mindlessness that, like, I don't know, your brain doesn't really need to recover from it the way that if you watch like a season of Homeland. So, oh my God. What I'm getting at is that because I haven't really dated and I don't really visit my family all that often, and I don't go and hang out with friends, as a theoretical, if I blow, let's just say 10 hours of time on a Sunday, I still got 5 hours left that I could be working out, sitting at my laptop and getting real work done, that I haven't blown an entire day. Whereas other people who have a more active social life, or they've got that girlfriend, they've got that family, if they were to do all of those commitments on top of playing with their asshole on the couch for 5 hours, there is no time left in the day. So So in some ways I've benefited from like the absence of some of those social activities that like if I waste an entire day, but then I find a focused 4 hours, I might get done what someone else gets done in their workday in an entire day. But it's like my brain was actually very relaxed when I got started, that I really had the energy to like get. And I got to tell you, sometimes with the sales stuff, because like I'm not a natural at it. Like sometimes like I'm doing tense things, and I don't know. You just need you need some downtime for your brain to be able to kind of handle the stress of some of those decisions. If you're just kind of, at least for me, I think there's some high level CEOs that can just kind of be on edge, stressed all the time, but
I'm not one of them. I don't know how Elon Musk runs like 5 companies. We kind of tried to start another spin-off from SHEATH, and it was to be for like older men. And
do your balls hang low? It could be, you could get what's that? The elephant?
The trunk.
Yeah, you can make that like it's that could be the mascot. Do your ears hang low? Do they wobble to a flow? Blah, blah, blah. I don't remember the song.
No.
Do you remember that song?
No.
So it could be that for old people, but for their nuts.
Yes. But that's what SHEATH is already for. This was going to be for like urination type things. Like when you accidentally.
Yeah, you got to keep that as a separate brand so you don't make SHEATH not cool.
Exactly. And it was very touchy, and it's just the breaks. COVID happened, and I was like, I'm not going to push this. I have a doctor, a lawyer, and another dude that wanted to do it.
Were you looking for like a Better Depends product?
Yeah, they wanted to do that, and they wanted to incorporate the SHEATH design. And I was like, okay, but it's definitely not going to be SHEATH. It'd be a totally different brand. But
right,
shit just fell apart. It's hard to start, dude. It's hard to start a business. I don't know how we did SHEATH, but to do another one and then run 2 separate companies, and that one wasn't even going to be hardly that cool. It wasn't going to be like cool,
Right.
It still exists. It's called Shield, but see, it's also
that's actually a decent name.
Yeah, decent name. And we have it registered and all that stuff. It's just taken a pretty
shielding your pants from your urine.
Yeah, you don't want to pee all over yourself when you're old, and it happens to guys. And one of the doctors, a urologist, and so he knows firsthand that it's an issue. And shout out to Jim Simon. I'm sorry, I'm not taking your calls. I'll take your call.
Does Dr. Simon have a better design for urine absorption?
No, it's about the pad, and it's about putting the pad in like a compartment within the underwear. And luckily, SHEATH is like patented for us, that so we can. Nobody else can do it, but we could do it. But I could license it to this other company, and it's not dead, because maybe I'll need them one day. You know what I mean? So it's not over, but as of right now, it's kind of on hiatus. Do you think that you would ever want to start a company, or you just want to do comedy, or like a combination?
I don't know. I got it. Dude, if I can make money doing stand up, yeah. I think I'm pretty like that. That's it. I think there's something about specializing in life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And like being really good at what you're doing, where I could see myself doing something. I guess you could view this as a company, but I could see myself doing something closer to the end of year project on a more regular basis and touring that, or like, yes.
I meant to say this earlier, because you recorded your special for your end of year 2021 recap. Where is that, and how can people find that?
So I'm going to say the best place to find my content is I just got another strike on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be spending some real money on my own website. I just emailed the guy who has my website built, but if you go to RobbieTheFire.com,
hell yeah,
almost all the content that I've ever done is up there. And in the near future, I think that's going to really be the home of everything I'm doing.
Do you think that's what everyone should kind of do, is just instead of posting on YouTube?
I think it's really tough, because if I even think of the people I'm fans of, like I'm viewing their content on YouTube. Like even Rogan, who I've become a big fan of. I became a fan of Rogan because when I was really stressed out 3 years ago and I got home from work and I didn't know what to watch, Rogan was on the front page of YouTube. I was watching his highlight clips because it was right in front of me. And if that's not, or like for a little while, Rand Paul had the best clips. Like I love watching politics like it's pro wrestling, and he got a YouTube ban. I didn't go to his website to try and find him. The people that I love, I don't think there's anyone whose website I go to watch their content. I can't think of a single person. I mean, there's a couple blogs that I read, and I guess I go to those people's websites, but for the most part, I'm viewing your content on YouTube. And like even some of the comics that I'm fans of, this is I don't have a ton of stand-up online. I've always had it be a part of my strategy to try and have a lot of free content on YouTube. And the reason for that is the comedians that I became a fan of 7 or 8 years ago, it was because when I found them, they had 15 pages deep on YouTube. So like when I found Louis C.K. and I thought, like I saw one clip, oh, this guy's funny. I ended up watching everything. There was hours of content, and then I was a fan. Doug Stanhope, same thing. Nick DiPaolo, the same thing. There were some other comics.
Nick DiPaolo, I just wrote his name down. Nick Dip. Anyways, because he started the Comics Gym website.
I can get you on there.
Okay. Well, I'm just like, he's trying to provide an alternative, right? Because all of like the comics I like, you know, you guys and him get banned and shit. So
I'm 2 strikes in. My YouTube is done. It's done. So what I'm going to try and do as much as possible is, I mean, I already have 2 strikes, which means I already can't, I'm not
monetize.
No, it's not that. I'm not in this game to censor myself. Like that is the least interesting thing. So I'm not going to start doing different content so I can remain on YouTube. That's not an option. That's not what I got into this for. And that's not, if CNN were to come to me tomorrow and say, here's a $3 million a year contract. We want you to build out a 12 a.m. comedy show. And here's the guidelines. I might go, okay, that's enough money that let me review these guidelines and see if there's a version of funny that I could do within this platform that I think like that's a job. But to fucking do my own thing for no money that I want to create to try and play within, like that literally makes 0 sense. So I'm going to go the other way with it, which is, I mean, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, and then I'm going to start trying advertising as much as possible. This was unsafe for YouTube. You have to go to my website to find my content, and I'm just going to try, like, dude, I mean, it's crazy. I'm not a punk rock person. I'm a fucking middle-class Jew from Connecticut who didn't do well in school, didn't like that just wasn't a fit for me. But I'm saying, like, I'm not a punk rock person. I'm a fucking lame ass who I'm lucky to live in a world now where, like, think about what you had to do in the past to be a fucking badass. Like, now I just have to talk. I just have to read the scientific documents from the FDA and explain to you that the vaccine that they're trying to push on you is not worthwhile and that you're not at risk of, that I think it's a bad risk assessment. This makes me a badass in the generation that we live in. Like, I am a bona fide rebel because I am willing to read information and just explain to you that they're lying to you. Yeah. So I'll take it, dude. I'll take the fucking rebel, man. I'm a fucking lame human being who I'm lucky to live in an era where everyone else is such bunch of soft fucking pansies that I am actually... I'm the cool rebel. We should not be living in a world where I am the rebellious person. I'm the least rebellious. I save my fucking money. I opened up TIA crefts with my high school savings. Like, I'm, you know what I mean? I'm not cool, but if we live in a world where I get to be cool, I'll take it.
Sensible is cool. You're using your own common sense, and like, hey, that doesn't make sense to me, what he's saying, and it's not jiving with what I'm seeing or what he said over there. He's saying 2 different things, and I'm assuming the one he said in private is the truth, and the one he's saying in public is not the truth. Yeah, we're talking about Dr. Science himself.
I got to create an email list too. I got to figure out how I can. I really want to build an email list from all the shows that we're doing, so I could start emailing fans directly and be like, "Hey, here's the content I put out this week." Like, I'd like to figure out how I could just be in touch with people a little bit more directly.
Who's that really famous short black comic?
Kevin Hart.
So that's what he did, right? Is I guess at the beginning he was getting all these people's email addresses, and I heard like that's why he became as big as he is. To be honest, he's not funny to me at all. It's very generic, very like he's like so animated. Okay, his movies are funny, but his comedy is not so funny to me. Just me personally. Some people, obviously, people like it because he's very popular.
So there's some people I haven't watched enough of to give an opinion, like, and sometimes it's just style. Like, there's some really great comedians out there that just based off of delivery styles, I'm not excited by it, and so I don't watch it. I haven't really watched any of his comedy. It's like I can't shit on it, but like it doesn't excite me enough to really watch it.
He has moments. He's had obvious, and everyone has their moments. But like, if I watch you once and then I watch you again, and it feels like I'm watching the same one I saw last time, I'm like, and I hate to even say this, but like semi same situation with Bill Burr, who I love. But if you watch his specials, they have a similar theme, you know, like people walking into the ocean, or like there's too many people in the world, or just, but he's so funny that it's okay. I like the new version of that joke. He'll make like a new version of the same joke. I don't know if you feel me on that, but that's just an opinion, and we're just chatting it up. Have you seen Hot Ones, the show Hot Ones, where they eat the hot
for
wings?
Sure, absolutely. So he was, you know, he started one. Now I'm back on Kevin Hart real quick. He started like an ice bath version of, right.
So they're supposed to have a conversation in an ice bath, and they don't even get in the ice bath. It's too cold. You can't have a conversation. It's impossible. Random. That was like a random kind of point that I just made there. But, and also, who's that? There's this new guy that he's not new. He's like the stoner, Pineapple Express, Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Is it Seth Rogen? He was just on Hot Ones.
He stinks.
I know. Why
he became such a liberal douche. Isn't it incredible how many people have turned not cool over the last 5 years?
It's sad.
I think if you're, this is what I was saying, and this is where I don't fault them. If CNN gave me $3 million a year to develop a once a week comedy program, I mean, I feel like I would just more keep my mouth shut. But I think people that are really in the Hollywood system, like really in the Hollywood system where you're a producer on stuff and you're really in the system.
Connected, yeah.
I think that there's enough money on the table that you just have to behave a certain way. Like it's one or the other. It's like you can't be making that really big producer money and working on within the system and really working on projects, and then also have opinions that are not what Hollywood likes. It's one or the other, or at least it would seem that way from the outside. I
mean, you have like Chris Pratt. I mean, his name comes to mind, and I think he's like Christian-y, kind of like right wing, and that's fine. But like he's like, there's two people that have come out and against the machine. Everyone else, I think those people are just sheep. I think there's a better way to say that, but they're not like courageous, and they're just kind of people. Some people are free thinkers, and some people follow what's being told to them, kind of, and don't even really seem to question it, because it's almost like, are you serious? Like,
or you can look at it this way, instead of I'll put a positive spin on it, and I'm not this person. I'm just not. I'm describing what I'm not. Some people understand kind of how to be popular, and that takes like kind of having the values of whatever the popular group is. And that is your personality. Your personality is, oh, I like being popular, and so I know how to reflect the values of the popular group. I'm not that person. I've always been the, hey, fuck you, I'm going to stand in the corner, and I'm going to say really mean shit about all of you because you're a bunch of fucking sheep and idiots. But I don't know that like, if you look at life as that it's a social sport, and that there's a lot of money in your ability to kind of social network and that kind of things and be persuasive, like my strategy is not exactly necessarily, I mean, I'm sticking to my strategy. It's the only strategy I have. And like, I'm committed to the way I operate. I mean, if you want to be a fucking queer about it, you could say it's my truth, whatever the fuck you want to. I'm just saying I operate the way I operate, which is being the cynical ass in the corner. And I'm not a networker. I don't want to hang out. I want to have my opinions. I want to read. I want to be right. I want to be able to tell everyone else why they're fucking retarded. Yeah. And then eventually I want to win doing it so I can really shove it in their fucking faces, because that's the kind of vengeful asshole I am. But for some other people, right, their entire lives is fitting in with the popular crowd. Yeah. So I almost feel like that's their thing. So like a Seth Rogen, like he knows how to be popular. Like that's a skill that he has.
Yeah, he probably didn't even smoke weed. He was probably like just smoking weed to be cool. Like, right? I just thought of that when you said that.
Could be. Maybe he is that lame.
I mean, the truth is what I'm seeking. Not my truth.
Right.
But the truth. And I guess I could be wrong. I mean, like maybe the world isn't round. I don't know that, but it makes sense to me that it is. And so if it doesn't make sense, I'm not going to go along with it. And this bullshit about, all of the lockdowns and stuff. And I mean, that Barry Weiss thing, I was just listening to you and Dave on Part of the Problem and the Barry Weiss on Bill Maher interview. And now like people are finally starting to come around, I guess, to the truth. And it's like, I told you, we're not even have to say I told you, but you guys and Dave was kind of saying, we've been saying this for a while.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm starting to get a little, I've been right on some of the biggest American political topics over the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Why aren't I extremely well paid as a political analyst? Like I'm just saying these people aren't more entertaining. They're not more articulate, and they've been wrong on everything. How have I not gotten an agent calling me up and being like, oh, we need a new news anchor on Fox? Right. Now, that's not even a job that I want. That's not what I'm looking for. But I'm just saying it's weird to live in this world where it's like you can consistently be right, and they're just consistently, and we're like the job is giving people information.
Right.
So I've been providing good information. You've been providing bad information. Why is there a market for bad information?
It's the old legacy, but I mean, aren't the podcast? I know part of the problem is growing, and then Run Your Mouth is growing as a result of the combination of you two working together and being right. That's why I listened to you. And I remember when I first listened, I listened to like 5 minutes. I was like, these guys are on point right now. And you have been ever since then. So being right pays off in that way. Maybe you just be patient, right? And Dave do they get paid to go on those little, when you're like a guest on a show? He goes on Kennedy or whatever. He goes on Gutfeld. Like, I
don't know what his, but he's like a regular on that stuff now.
Yeah, I don't have the channel anymore. So
yeah, I never watch. I don't watch any news at all. I only read the news. I never, like CNN, Fox, that whole world. I never.
Me, I might catch a clip on Tucker on YouTube or
right.
But yeah, typically I get my news from you.
Hell yeah.
And Ron Paul. I listen to the Ron Paul Liberty Report, and then like Rogan, and that's about and a couple YouTubers. This guy, The Quartering, his name is Jeremy something. He has over 1 million. There's so many YouTubers you've probably never heard of that have these huge followings, isn't it? And it's like kind of amazing to think like this dude. His name is Jeremy. I don't even know his last name, but his show is The Quartering. And I think of like The Quartering being like 4 horses pulling a man apart, but he's just talking shit on whatever current events are happening, and every video gets like 200,000+ download or views, and I think that's more than CNN, and he's like a quote unquote nobody, maybe. But how many views does CNN get for a show? Do you think? Because these things, I thought.
No, I would love to know what their ratings are. I mean, I would guess the late night shows at best, I think, are getting like 1.2 million, right? So if your late night shows are getting 1.2, I would assume CNN's probably at 400,000 to 500,000. But the problem, even with their stats, is that how many of those are just like the airport that it's just on, the gyms that it's just on.
Yes.
Like how many people are actually watching a CNN show? I would love to know.
If you look on YouTube and you see how many followers CNN has versus Fox, it's like 7-1 CNN. Right. But then that doesn't make sense to me. Did they just, because I don't know who's watching this shit. Like, why are you still watching when you know they've been consistently wrong over and over and over, and you still go to them for news? It's insane.
Yeah, well, it's in part, and this is where you start realizing that we live in a socialist country, but they still are a legacy media, and there's a lot of money behind it, and there's an illusion, like there's an illusion, like, for example, when a guy's driving a really nice car, oh, this guy must be wealthy, and he must also know something about life, because how else would he be this wealthy? Like, there's some power that just comes with, like, the wealth and the perception. CNN still has this perception almost of that. I think it has almost more, like, it's still perceived that, like, all right, that's the mainstream, and that's what the mainstream's trying to say, and then here's us debunking the mainstream. But it's like, it only has the perception of being the mainstream because it's on, TV, and advertisers are spending money with it, almost just propping it up to pretend like it's still this, like, as powerful as it is. But
Right.
I think you're right. It's like a perception thing, that it's like people think that it still is, like, maybe the sphere of influence from CNN is basically zero, except that we all still kind of pretend like it's the thing to debunk, or that, like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe we should just ignore it and it really is irrelevant.
No, I think some people do like still think it. I know some people who still watch it and like think they'll make excuses for it. And
Who is that fucking person?
he's a good, the funny thing is he's a good guy. And I'm like, are you joking right now? Like, are you serious? Like, I can't even talk to you. He works for me. I almost fired him because
For liking CNN. You don't want to say that on,
I know.
You don't want to say that.
I didn't, and I've come to learn, like, it's better to have a
Diverse opinions.
Yes.
And the SHEATH company believes that everyone, no matter your color, race, or political opinions, I mean, color and race, that's redundant. Color, religion, you shouldn't say color. I think race, religion, or political views is happily welcome at the SHEATH family. That's what Robert meant to say.
It is. We would get into some, good debates about politics and stuff. And I'll be like, are you fucking serious right now? You think that they have your best interest in mind? Like, I would just be like, you think the Democrats are good, the Republicans are bad, but, like, you really think the Democrats care about you? I was like losing my mind. And he's like,
it's a convenient story to have in your mind, of that that I'm a Democrat, and I believe that my team believes in doing nice things for other people. And since I'm a good person, I root wholeheartedly for this team that's standing in opposition to evil forces that don't want to provide to the poor.
right.
And it's the convenience of that. Like, you don't want to have to personally go do nice things for other people so that you could feel like a good person.
Yes.
Right. It's just a very convenient storyline to live in, that I am on the side of good because I root for the Democrats. And if it wasn't for me rooting for the Democrats, the evil forces of monetary savings and the Republicans that don't want to give out free goods, I'm the one thing standing in the way. And then it's also this idea that government's not just good, but they're the ones who are supposed to take, like, it's not about you. It's not about that I'm supposed to do good things for other people. It's that, well, that's the job of government. And so I don't have to think about this. I just have to cheer for the right team in government. And then that's all I need to do. I don't have to go to church. I don't have to do charity. If I just cheer for this one team to be in charge, and I get in the way of people like you, and I try and shame other people out of their opinions, I've done everything I need to be a good person. And you know what's interesting about being a good person is that everyone wants to be a good person, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's almost I actually been thinking about this in my head. It's a dark thought, but you might appreciate it. I'm thinking about maybe playing around with this as a joke, but the economics of evil. And what I mean by that is, like, I think the reason why some powerful people get into power is because, like, most of us don't want to be evil. Like, you know what I mean? It's like a supply and demand thing. There aren't a lot of powerful people that are willing to just take from other individuals, or willing to just outright lie, or willing to, or be a real son of a bitch lawyer. Like none of us like that. Most individuals, we don't like confrontation. These are all things that we don't like.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so the
vacuum gets filled by the actual evil people. Sorry, you tell me.
No, I think that the evil people tangent was kind of irrelevant. More what I'm saying is the reason why that guy so believes in CNN is because he's created a story of his life where he's good and he doesn't have to do much in order to keep that vision in his brain of like, I'm a good moral person.
That's actually not a horrible assessment. Because he is a good person, but I don't think he necessarily does anything. And we all think that we can just outsource it to the government and we don't have to do anything. But the problem, or what I say is like, at least, and I'm a libertarian, okay? I'm in the middle or whatever, freedom, baby. But at least with the Republicans, you know that they don't care about you. With the Democrats, they tell you all these nice things. We're going to take care of you. We're going to fix everything, blah, blah, blah. Promises, promises, promises. And then they're in the back room, I'm imagining, shaking hands with the Republicans, laughing all the way to the bank. They're all in it together, except for maybe Rand Paul or a couple of, gunslinging, like crazy, like radicals, right? He's a radical in these days. Telling the truth is radical. How dare you question science? I love Rand Paul. I love Ron Paul. I hope that the truth. I think the truth comes out ultimately in what Pfizer's going to release those documents in 54 years or something, right?
I think they so that was a wild one. But I think a judge ruled against them and they have to get it out quicker. But I haven't seen anything on that for a little while.
But just the truth in general, like the truth about Trump.
I mean,
Russia,
dude, the idea that they could get this passed within 2 months to get the drug out, but then they would need 55 years to release the documents. Well, how is it possible that you were able to make a decision within 2 months and process all this information, but it would take you 55 years just to release it? How does that add up? If it would take 55 years to assess this information, then how do you make a decision in 2 months? You can't. Both those things can't be true at the same time.
I just hope everyone starts coming to their senses. It was a little crazy. I can agree with Barry Weiss in the sense that at the beginning we didn't know, and I know a couple months in we kind of started hearing some things.
Yeah, that's fine at the beginning, but when the vaccine rollout started, and then when they started pushing the vaccines, we already had this information. So it's like, yes, it's true. In the first month of the corona arriving here, we panicked. You can go watch the beginning of my 2020 end of year. That's the section 1 is we all panicked, and I make fun of myself for panicking because going into this, by the way, I'm still a germaphobe to this day. I'm a fucking germaphobe. Like in terms of government narratives that I would be a sucker for, this is one of them. Like I absolutely, you suckered me at the beginning of this. It was a new thing. None of us knew what the fuck was happening, but to pretend that when the vaccine was rolled out, and then when the mandates were rolled out and like all of the information, I'm going to say as of 6 months after the start of the coronavirus, you just weren't doing your homework.
Right. It's criminal to shut down a society for a fucking cold. Sorry. And I know people die from colds. Anyways, I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to me in anything we said. We're just
ice baths and ivermectin. I'll say it.
That'll save you. I was saying that at the beginning, the Wim Hof breathing method, and I talked to you about it.
I do that when I'm jerking off. It really helps.
Doesn't it feel so much better?
Oh my God. It's like night and day.
It's like that autoerotic asphyxiation.
It's like I blasted the load of 15 men. And
it's like out one end and out into your brain. You get like this DMT, like, kind of, not ejaculation, but euphoria or whatever. It may be in your brain. It's like ejaculating in your brain. Sorry, Mom. Robbie started.
Does your mom actually listen to the show?
I don't know. I think she listens to some. She'll come on my live streams, and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. But every now and then I'll say. Sorry, Mom, but she's awesome. She's been a trooper with me. I was a bad boy, and she always just kind of still loved me and kind of accepted me. And I had to figure it. She didn't correct me. I had to figure it out on my own, so to speak, the hard way. But look where I'm at now, baby. Top of the world. Woodland
RPG.
Park. Yes. What global? Robert
Going
Patton
global.
Yeah. I was thinking about that last night, and we'll wrap it up here shortly. I know I'm not going to keep you. Are you going to do some comedy tonight?
I'm hanging, and then I'm gonna go to the shed at around 8:30.
The Shed.
Yeah, you know the Shedcast guys.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be hanging. I haven't been in the shed. Well, actually, I went to the shed last night. Me and Mike Nice, we recorded some tunes. I put out parodies of Neil Young songs, sung about COVID. I can do a decent Neil Young impression. And then we also did a Beach Boys spoof of Everybody Surfing, but instead it's Everyone's Getting COVID. That one's not out yet, but if you go to my Instagram, you can listen to the Neil Young ones.
Okay.
And then tonight, I'm going to go hard because I haven't been in the shed for a while, and we're going to do it big. Shedcast, baby.
Definitely check out the Shedcast then with Robbie the Fire. That's your podcast though, right?
I mean, it's more theirs, but like I'm a pretty regular guest on it, and it's a fun show for me to do because we really just get blitzed in the shed and hang out.
Love that. How do you get blitzed? Do you drink or do you smoke weed or what?
It depends. It depends on the night. It really depends on the night. Like, there's a lot of nights where I got to behave myself, so I'm not like they're big pot smokers. Like they're ripping blunts the whole time, and dude, that like these guys have the best weed. Like I've introduced people to like they have the best weed. But sometimes we go a little bit deeper. You know, sometimes we've had some deep evenings.
I'll leave that up to the people's imagination. Clarify what's going on with Neil Young and Spotify real quick, and then we'll probably wrap it up.
All right. So Neil Young, sometimes as you get older, things change and you turn gay. And so what happened with Neil Young is firstly, it saddened me because when I went to spoof his songs, I haven't listened to some of his music in a while. And I was like, dude, like why, like, I'm shitting on something so good. Like his songs are so good. Like, wow. I mean, when I was in I used to listen to Q104.3. That's the New York City, like, classic rock station. And I remember in high school, like, cause I grew up like 90s grunge stuff, which was K-rock, which was like your Nirvana, your Metallica, Pearl Jam, like all of that stuff. And then K-rock died when Howard Stern left. And then I discovered Q104.3, which was classic rock. And then I was listening to like Zeppelin, Skynyrd, like Pink Floyd, like The Who, just like a world of all of that unbelievable music that was kind of from the 70s before my time, but it's still just like, I mean, it's amazing to me that rock and roll to kids like is not a thing. It's not cool. It's not relevant. But like I still, in my own brain of having found that music in the 70s music when I was in high school, that to me is still like very much so America. I don't know what America means, but like I'm saying my vision of America, even though some of these brands are all British, like The Who, Rolling Stones, you know what I mean? Like a bunch of these bands are all British. Anyways, what was your question?
So Neil Diamond, not Dylan.
Oh, Neil Young. Yeah. So I'm saying like I do in my own, like I can't claim this music. I'm just saying I know so many people who are just into rap or whatever. Like I definitely have a strong attachment to classic rock. That's my jam. I used to just cut out of school, just sit in my room reading the New York Post and listening to classic rock. I feel like I'm still doing that now that I spent a lot of my day at home listening to jam bands and just reading the news and trying to stay on top of it. But anyways.
So why were you making fun of him though?
So here's what happened. He said to Spotify, unless you're going to, I mean, I'm putting words in his mouth, but essentially, unless you're going to start censoring Rogan, I want my music off your platform. And the irony of that is like some of his songs are like, he literally has an album cover with the word freedom on it. Like he's kind of like a Woodstock 70s guy. Yeah. I mean, I haven't gone that deep on his music, but I'm just saying to me, he was kind of like a cool dude, great songs, an attachment with 70s Woodstock, a little bit of an attachment to the flavor of freedom. Like I said, I'm not a guy who really pays attention to lyrics. Like maybe that's not what his music's been about or is about, but like Keep on Rocking in the Free World. I mean, that's his biggest song. And then to have a guy like that just basically being on the side of censorship is wild. I mean, literally saying, I don't want to be on your platform unless you're going to censor this other individual. And like, Neil Young, I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you. Do you really have that much of an understanding of the medical science here? Or are you just on team government here? You're just going like, well, the government, like, you were fucking 70s Vietnam. why do you trust government? Like Woodstock, wasn't that kind of a reflection of fuck you, I'm not going to the military, why are we in Vietnam? And now all of a sudden, like, this is the new thing that they're lying about. Like, this is a new thing that they're going to, people are going to, like, I don't want to go too hard on the vaccines, but I'm just saying, it's like, you were at Woodstock, you're one of these freedom figures. You, like, I don't, maybe he was pro-Vietnam War. I don't know. I'm just saying, though, to me, he was kind of like that he was part of that flavor. Yeah. And for someone like that to now be on the side of censorship, it's like, it's remarkable.
Yeah, it reminds me, and I'm not listening to myself, but to stay out of politics when it comes to your opinions and stuff as you get older, because like Arnold Schwarzenegger went all crazy. Stephen King has lost his mind, in my opinion. Now this guy, and like, there's these, it's like, if you would have just not said anything,
right,
your music could still be on Spotify.
I think two things on that. One, opinions are overrated and expensive. Mm-hmm. And like, I mean that, like, in a perfect world, I would have been a dick joke telling comedian, and I never would have had opinions. Why do I need them? Well, like, what do they really do for you? And then also, the way that I have opinions, I leave myself a lot of wiggle room for being wrong, because my opinion is like, I'm looking for truth. If you have if you have truth, come tell me. And you can even hear the words I say. It seems to me, I've researched this topic. Here's what I'm seeing. Please email me if I'm getting this wrong. robsnewsroom@gmail. I'm not, if you get too attached to ideas, then you get the cognitive dissonance, then you're playing for a side, you're everything that's lame and it sucks. Mm-hmm. I try and avoid that as much as possible, so that like, I also don't claim to be the smartest person. Like, that's not my brand. That's not who I am. So like, I'm very open to being wrong, which I think leaves you from ending up in these pickles where you become overly attached to bad ideas.
Yeah, and you're people that are so confident that they know that there's some answer, but how often?
On that note, I'm usually just more on the side of like, I don't fucking know and you don't fucking know. So quit pretending like you know, and here's why you don't know. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, my opinion, even on the COVID stuff, it's a lot more nuanced. It's just saying, like, you got a new technology here that might be risky. I don't think it works well enough that this is worth taking. And why are they lying about it? And then it's been like proving they're clearly lying and trying to sell us on this thing. I don't know that there's going to be long-term health effects. I'm not even claiming that there are. I'm just saying it's a possibility. And because it's a possibility, I don't think it's worthwhile to take this thing that they're lying about, because it's fucking weird that they're lying about it.
Yeah, and they're trying to pay you to take it, and it's too weird. There's too much. It's creepy.
Yeah.
And I try to trust my gut instincts, and if it feels off, I'm gonna hang back. I'm just gonna stay back here. But don't give me shit about not jumping on board with this thing you're selling. Let me watch it for 10 years, and then I'll reconsider.
Also, I haven't heard Neil Young on a political topic, I think, once in my entire life. I don't think I've ever heard him talk out, or maybe it's just because this is one so popular. Like, maybe he does this shit all the time, but it just never makes headlines because no one really gives a shit. But it's also particularly lame to me if I've never heard you have like an opinion or take a stance, and all of a sudden your stance is against Rogan. It's just fucking not cool. So not cool. If they don't know, he's the pinnacle of media, like the fucking apex predator, motherfuckers. You're not gonna stop him. And we're all not like his underlings or anything, but he started a movement of being able to like just kind of talk and in nuanced conversations and not be stuck to these rigid ideas, and you be open to being wrong. So that's why I think we're more right, because we're open to being wrong. And that may not make perfect sense, but questioning and not just going along with is where I'm at, and that's what I think we're on a similar kind of wavelength when it comes to that type of thing. And that's why I like talking to you. I should maybe talk to some other people like that I don't necessarily agree with. Maybe I'll do that one day. But I typically don't try to get too political on here anyways. It's typically about success and, overcoming obstacles and stuff. So
hopefully you will overcome any of these censorship obstacles. That's going to be the hard one, right? And when you do, it's going to be through persistence and just keeping on doing the thing that you're being drawn towards and stuff. So stay true to yourself, but don't fuck yourself over. If you have to bend a little bit, don't bend the knee, but maybe crouch down or whatever, you know.
I'm just going to keep doing me. And what I'm hoping to really get better at is becoming my own production company, essentially, so that I can do a better job of filming the content, getting it online. And, because people do find my stuff. Like, I actually randomly, this I found really inspiring. Like, this really inspired me. This past week, I got a DM, some hot chick down in Florida. Thought I was a running podcast, listened to it, thought it was the funniest thing she ever heard. I was doing I did a 30-minute episode where I talked about how I'm trying to build a room so silent that I could rape in it. All right. That is one of the harshest jokes I've done on the podcast. And I kept harping back to it. The fact that there's a random person out there that falls outside of what I would think my demo is of like 25 to like probably 25 to like 60, kind of more conservative, or maybe like, you know what I mean? Like, this fell completely outside of who I would think would enjoy my content. So if she thought I was funny, that means there's a lot of other people out there that if they were exposed to what I was doing, A, would think I'm funny. Two is BK Chris, who, by the way, you should have him on sometime. You would get along great with BK Chris. Yeah. Dude, he's funny, and he's actually quietly, firstly, fitness guy, and he has a knack for like personal success. Like, he's actually slick with money. We'll be talking to him, and he's like, I just put money into a condo here. Like, I'm just telling you, he's actually quietly got a real winning attitude. So, but anyways,
yeah, he's like from Boston or something, right?
No, he's from New York. He's like pure Brooklyn, Brooklyn.
Just okay, that accent,
fucking Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's right. Okay,
yeah, but he's got like real New York flavor that way. Yeah, but he pointed out that when we were in Boston, there was a table of bros, and he was like, we won them over because there's a market of like they couldn't believe that we were doing what we were doing. There's a market of people watching television comedy that think comedy is gay, that they just think it's lame and it sucks, and they don't even know that there's like people like myself or Dave Smith or like that are just talking nonsense, like just telling harsh shit. Fucking jokes, just talking shit, being, like I said, I love that I get to live in a world where I am punk rock because I am a fucking middle class Jew from Connecticut. I'm not punk rock. I'm a conservatively like, it is so weird to me that the world is so turned that I get to be the punk rock character. But the point being, people are not educated or even aware that comedy like this still exists, that because of everything that's on TV, they just think the entire genre sucks. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do a better job of kind of showcasing what I'm doing. Also just building the live scene with Summer Porch Store, where like people start telling their friends, people just realize like, oh, there's a cool, like, I'm trying to build it from scratch, build my own scene, build my own content, hopefully get it out there and bring more people into the world.
Yeah, and we're gonna end on that note. But with that's where I think you're in the right space with it, like Gas Digital and Lewis and Dave, and they've done that. I think by making that network, they've created a space for people who like this type of comedy, and then you just branch out.
Lewis is a genius level doer, and so what I mean by that is like. This is part of what I was talking about, and I don't want to put a negative spin on this in any way because I'm complimenting Lewis, but I was saying like there's skills that people don't have or they don't want to do because they're tough, and so they get heavily rewarded because people don't want to do it. Like Lewis's genius level of committing, we're getting this thing done, rallying people to the cause, and going like, no, we're doing this. This is going to work. That is incredibly difficult, and sharing the vision in a way that other people are willing to get on board and put their sweat equity behind just him having a vision. Like in terms, you can go read any success book in the world. I'm telling you, like Lewis is like, if working out and you get stronger, like Lewis's genius level of oh, we're going to do a comedy festival, and then recruiting people that can just put it together, which includes myself being on the sales side of him knowing me and selling me on, hey, like, you're a part of something here. We're like, go get a sponsor so we make this happen. Like, Lewis, I'm just saying, I almost don't spend enough time around Lewis, because in terms of like building from scratch, just having a vision, like having the strength to just push forward, doesn't matter what's going on, and seeing it through. Like, I'm saying he's genius level at that.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's been very good to us as a sponsor of the Gas Digital Network. And
have you had him on? I mean,
no,
oh, dude, you can talk success with that guy all day.
I would love to do that. I'll reach out to him again. He's
got, like, I'm saying he's read sales books. Like, he would even get into the trippier side of things. Like, I'm sure he's read The Secret. Like, I don't know quite where his philosophy is, but he definitely knows sales. But I'm just telling you, in terms of like that, having a vision, just getting it off the ground and just like pushing through and doing it.
Figure it out as you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Genius level.
Love it. Love it. I love you. Thank you, Robbie, for coming on again. I
gotta get a better placement, and hopefully this doesn't go, because sometimes
there it is.
There it is. It's gonna look good in the wide shot. I'm happy with the way that came out. You can see the Kratom over there.
Kratom, definitely love that.
Yeah,
the $60 kilo.
Yeah, what I want to do, I'm gonna get like wooden things so that I can have them coming up, so I can get them a little bit lower down, make it look a little bit more like street signs. But I like the way that printed. It looks cool.
It looks great. You are a man of your word, and you're wearing the hat, and we're gonna keep pushing through and spread the word about SHEATH and Robbie the Fire Bernstein.
Dude, those long johns are the shit.
Thank you. I'm glad you. I didn't know you didn't have them. Yeah.
No, you sent me two. They are unbelievable.
It's my pleasure. It's a pleasure to work with you and have you, help work to promote us. And I like how we both benefit. You promote us, we pay you, and everybody wins.
Dude, we're growing, buddy.
Yes, sir. So, and we're going to keep growing, and, so be a witness to the journey. Here's one more conversation between us two. There'll be plenty more, and in like 30 years we'll look back and laugh, and it'll be fun. But hopefully you guys got something out of it, and hopefully.
And my best accomplishment of the year is that I'm sitting on Robert's vision board. I'm in Robert's vision for more success. I called him ahead of time. I put in the request of what I was looking for, and you're manifesting a better reality for me.
That was very proactive. I'll show the people. Let's see if I can show them. There's Rogan, and there's Robbie.
There you go.
Yep.
Right on the shoulders of Rogan.
Yeah. That's it's not a bad place to be. And so thank you for coming on. Have a good night tonight, and we'll see you again soon. I'll be calling you and texting you, I'm sure. Everyone else, thank you for joining. We'll be back again, same time, same place next week. Thanks for coming on or watching. Bye.